of home updates, both things that we have done recently and things that I would like to get done in the very near future. If you watched my last video about my home, you know that we moved in here just a couple of months ago, have already gotten done a lot of things that we wanted to do to make the house more functional and cute. And we have done also several things since then, but I still have a long list. I really do embrace the idea of the home being a work in progress constantly. So this is not going to be like a before and after type of video, but just to talk about things that I have acquired, things that I've moved to new places, things that I still want to acquire. And it's just an ever evolving fun project that we have going on. So first I'll talk about the room that we're in currently. If you watched my last video, you know about this shelving unit behind me. We built that shortly after moving in because we needed storage immediately. And loving having that in this room. This is like our dining room slash like family room area. So let me just talk about what we've done so far in this room. So this room is quite large for a dining room. So only half of it contains the dining table and the shelving unit that I just showed. And then the other half is this like seating area that we've created here. So new additions that have been made since my last update. We got these two chairs that were on Facebook Marketplace. Actually, they were from separate sellers, but the exact same chair. And I don't know, these are not like my dream chair. I'm not completely in love with them, but it has been so hard to find I just feel like given all of the warmth and wood and stuff, and like the style of the rest of the room, I felt like and the rest of my house, I felt like I wanted something more modern for the chair, a more modern style. And I just feel like that's harder to find secondhand. I feel like there's a lot of very ornate vintage pieces that you can find easily on Facebook Marketplace or thrift stores. But the like authentic modern pieces are a lot more expensive. And so to get a modern style, I just had to go with something that was like a modern reproduction of a mid-century style. So that's why I went with these chairs. This is what it looks like without the pillow. And they're cute. Like, I like them. I like them fine. I like them more with the pillows. These were some pillows that I bought years ago that used to be in our front living room. Just added them to these chairs because I feel like they're a good scale, like an interesting scale for the chair. And then they also just add like warmth and texture to the chair, which is otherwise kind of boring. So, and then I have this little like bentwood rattan table that I thrifted a while ago, threw that in the middle. And this is like coming together nicely as a little sitting area. And then the other, I think the most major issue, the hardest to fix for this room is going to be this fireplace. As you can see, we have a very makeshift fireplace screen, which has been mostly effective actually at keeping the baby out of the fireplace. But it's just like hooked on with command strips, and obviously it's not very aesthetic. And then I also just really don't like this like tile, or I don't even actually know what this is. My dream right now is to do sort of like a peach or coral colored rectangular tile going vertically. I will show some examples of what I would like to do. So yeah, that's going to be one of the bigger projects that we have to do, and I really don't know, like tiling itself I think is obviously a project that can be DIY'd, but just don't actually know like what this surface is and if it can be tiled over or if we'll have to try to rip it out and like get to whatever's behind it. I'm not sure. So that's going to be a project for a few months from now, but I feel like just replacing that will make the biggest difference. I just want something that adds like more color, more texture, without like clashing with or competing with the wall unit that we have on the other side of the room, which is quite a large piece and like kind of visually cluttered.
Why
The other most urgent issue that I would like to replace as soon as possible is the table and chair situation, which I've talked about before. I just feel like this table, like I don't hate this table, but I feel like now that we have this shelving unit in here, it kind of like there's 3 different tones of wood going on, and this is clearly not real wood. And so yeah, I just don't love how this looks with the rest of the room. This is me? Again, I just feel like because there are so many warm tones in here and so much natural wood, I actually feel like the perfect table for this space would be something super modern, and even something metallic, something with chrome, I think would be lovely. And I've been collecting a lot of images of inspiration for that. And it's just something that seems to be like really impossible to find on Facebook Marketplace. The closest thing that I can find is like vintage Formica, like 1950s diner tables, which I'm not necessarily opposed to. It could work, it could be interesting, but it feels risky to me. My ideal is something just more similar to this. Okay. I'm such a huge fan of this, The House Book by Terence Conran. I think it was published in 1979 or something like that, which is an era of fashion that's just like not really come back. And so I know that when I see a room in this book that just really delights me, I know that it's actually like really stylish, that it's going to be timeless for me and not trendy. You would think that this table would not be that hard to find, but it really is. This too. I love this. And this is not the style I'm going for, but it's adorable. So many great rooms in this book. Like, I would see these pictures on Pinterest and I would have no idea that they were from 1979. Like, I would think they were curved. So yeah, like rattan Cheska chairs like this are, I feel like a dime a dozen secondhand and like modern reproductions. But the table is so difficult to find. So difficult to find.
Ready, set, go.
I want to talk about this front living room as well, which I don't think I showed much of in my last video. But this is definitely the room that has come together the most so far, that is like the most complete. Since our last discussion, the things that we've added are this rug and this little chair, which I got at the actual thrift store, and it was $10. And I was kind of like, I wasn't sure where it was gonna fit or if it was gonna fit, but just threw it in this room. It's a real mid-century piece. The upholstery is kind of wacky, but I kind of like it. And you can't beat it for $10. Then we got this print that I also really love, that I got at a vintage store near my house.
Mom?
And like I said with my dining room, I feel like one of the challenges of this room is that we already just have so many pieces in here that are like the very ornate antique style. I mean, this piano literally is an antique. That was my great grandma's piano. I feel like it needs more modern pieces to break that up. And so I mean, luckily we have this couch that we have here is a mid-century style couch. It's from Article, so I feel like that helps. But yeah, I feel like we're just trying to get that balance of like antique pieces and more modern vintage pieces helps it from being all just one style and feeling like very fussy. And then the other thing is we've ended up with like a lot of very samey colors in here. It's basically just like a red and green room, which I don't hate, but I would like to get some other color in here as well. Today I am tackling another project in my breakfast nook, which is replacing this light fixture. I had the idea of painting it or maybe trying to add some color to it in some way,
But then I noticed that I already had the perfect thing to update it with, which was this basket I thrifted, and my kids literally punched the bottom out of it, which I was like, oh, that's too bad. But then I was like, this is literally the exact right shape and size for this light fixture. So I felt like I would be able to just pop this over the top of the lampshade, and I was so giddy that my eyeball geometry was exactly right. It was the perfect fit. And I just popped it right on there, reattached the lampshade, and put the light bulb back in, and there you go. My only issue at this point is that I'm worried the cord itself doesn't quite match the texture of the new lampshade, but I still think it looks pretty cute. Now please enjoy a montage of me hanging up random pieces of art around my house that I have put off hanging until this moment. These are the pieces that I've had sort of just leaning against my shelving unit here, and now I'm trying to put them up, arrange them in a way that looks good. Lots of trial and error going on here, but I am really happy with what I came up with in the end. These little pieces are just some postcards that I got at an antique market, and I feel like they're the perfect fit right here. I really like putting them up with washi tape instead of frames. I feel like that adds just like a fun, different element. Just filled up a thrifted frame here with a little family picture, and it's all looking really cute.
Hello and welcome to another beautiful day. Today we are in my bedroom, and this is the room that, of all the rooms in the house, I think this is the one that needs the most of a makeover in order to adhere to my tastes. In most ways it's a pretty basic, just white wall room with some carpet that's like kind of old and gross that I would love to change, but there are a couple features that I find more abhorrent. Abhorrent is a strong word, but I don't really like them. The wall that you see behind me, I really don't like. It is real wood. It's, I think, engineered hardwood, but it just looks fake. Like, it's so gray that it doesn't look real. And at first I thought that was my main objection, but then I realized that, like, even if it wasn't, I just don't think that I want like a wood accent wall in my bedroom. If I could choose, if I were to design my perfect bedroom, it wouldn't include a wooden accent wall. And there's these guys, which again are just kind of weird to me. I feel like their scale seems wrong. They're really big. I don't love the copper tone with the red. I feel like that just kind of limits what you can actually do as far as decor and colors in this room. And then also just functionally, I'm always smacking my head on these. Like, there's been so many times that I go to pick something up near the bed and stand up and hit myself in the head. So I would love to just actually have a wall sconce instead of a hanging, like, really heavy chandelier type of light. It is funny because most people that have come to see our new house to get the tour, the main thing that they comment on that they say that they like is this wall and these lights. And I'm not sure if it's just because they're like the most they're the most like distinctly styled elements of the house. Like, everything else is pretty neutral. It's white walls and wooden floor, and this is like a choice, and so people feel like they have to comment on it. Or maybe people actually do like it, and I can see these elements working for a different style. That's just not the style that I'm going for. So these are the main things we need to change up. So, spoiler alert, we're probably not going to get to any of these things in this video. It's probably going to be for another video because these are going to be projects for next month. But yeah, we would love to tear out this wall, replace this with just normal sconces. I would love to paint the room as a whole.
This is our bed, and I do still like most of the things about this bed. I like the linen bedding. Our bedding is from Quince, And I really like linen as bedding. I feel like I love that it looks good even if it's not very smooth. It looks sort of intentionally rumpled. I do like this dusty blue color, although if we do end up switching up the color scheme, I feel like it would actually work pretty well to just dye this. Like if we went with a darker color of bedding, I think I could pretty easily dye this. So we don't have to buy new bedding. And so I might try doing that. And then other than that, most of the problems with this room are just that things are still kind of placeholders. We don't have a lot of furniture that we like or will want to use here permanently, just kind of random stuff that's getting the job done. For example, this random table, which is a fine table, but just kind of awkward for this space. This is my current night table, a box from the Container Store. And then our dresser, which is a Facebook Marketplace find from several years ago. I don't hate this dresser. I think that it could be, in the right room, it would be a stylish piece. I like the idea of maybe switching out the drawer pulls. And then I just think like styling above the dresser would go a long way. Ultimately, I kind of feel like I might like to get just like a very stylish mid-century piece or something like that. But for now, this will do fine. And then longer term, replacing this carpet would be the biggest improvement I think that we could make, but it probably not in the budget for this year.
We've now arrived in the basement. This room also has made many improvements since I last showed it to you. Let me show you what we've done so far.
Our most major acquisition here is this play couch that is from House of Noah. I fell victim to their aggressive marketing schemes, but it's actually really great. We love it a lot. Like, it's been very useful. The kids play with it a lot. They make it into trains, they watch movies on it, obviously, they make it into little forts, they jump all over it. It's been, I think, well worth the money for that. Our rug here is also from a vintage store that's in our neighborhood, actually the same place where I got my upstairs rug. And this rug is causing me problems in some ways. I really like the idea of it, and I think it looks great in a playroom, but its main colors are purple and teal, and I just don't like either of those colors. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to really try to design my room around this.
I also just am feeling like rugs are difficult because when you have a rug that's really colorful, it's hard for me to know instinctively how much to try to match the rest of the decor to it versus trying to have decor that's a little bit that creates a little bit of tension because it doesn't quite match. I want it to not quite match, but it's hard to do the not quite match thing in a way that looks intentional. So I'm struggling with that. Which brings us to our next subject, which is the toy storage situation, which is kind of in progress right now. Currently we have all of the toys set up in these cabinets right here, which are old IKEA, actually outdoor storage cabinets that we used to have on our patio at our old house. And then we didn't really have a use for them outdoors in this house, so we brought them inside thinking maybe they would function well as toy storage. And they are functional, but I just don't like the look. I think they look too much like outdoor furniture. So we're not going in that direction. The idea instead now is to use these two cabinets, which are also from IKEA, but we got them on Facebook Marketplace. Someone was selling them. And the current plan is to use these as toy storage, mount them to the walls here. And I have been just so studiously looking at every Pinterest image of playrooms and toy storage to try to find the vibe that I like. And people do really, really adorable, cute things with wall-mounted cabinets for kids' playrooms, and it was like really hard for me to try to narrow down what direction I wanted to go in. But when these popped up on Facebook Marketplace, I was like, let's just get those and we'll figure something out with these. So I think the current plan is to mount these on the wall. I want them to be about like 2/3 of the way up. So I like the idea of there being more floor space underneath them to either like put toy baskets or something underneath, or like a little table, or just more open floor space to play. But then having space on the top to kind of use it as like an open shelf. You can put like some of the cuter toys up on the top, and maybe just like thrifted baskets and stuff like that for storage. I also would like to paint these just to add a little bit more color to the room, and that's where the rug question is complicating things, because I don't want them to match the rug too closely, but I also don't want them to clash. So I feel like the solution here is to pull out some of the more muted or non-dominant colors in this rug. So like one that I see is this like burgundy-ish color. There's like some darker emerald greens. There's some more muted greens here. And I like a lot of these colors. So my current idea is to do these in a sort of like very shiny enamel like a very high gloss sort of dark olive green color. And I think that will be cute. I also really like the idea of drilling into the fronts of these cabinets little finger pulls on opposite sides, like the little holes that you can pull with your finger on opposite sides. I feel like that's a cute like mid-century vibe, and that's the reason that I really like the sliding doors. I feel like they're a little more stylish and interesting, a little more so than the doors that just pull open. So we are gonna try to get these cabinets up this weekend, so stay tuned and we will see how it turns out.
So this is the color I was initially interested in painting the cabinets, and I went and got some samples. This color is called Mown Grass by Bear, and I just couldn't resist painting the drawers right away because I was very eager to decide what color I wanted to go with. So that first color is called Mown Grass. The second color is called Thai Curry, and this last one, I do not remember what it was called. I'm sorry, but they're all from Bear. And that one was more of the dark olive color that was more present in the rug, but I just threw them all up there. It would have definitely been wise to paint the cabinets before attaching them to the wall, but I was impatient to attach them and I couldn't decide on what color. It looks amazing. But by the time they were up, we were leaning towards the Thai curry color because we liked how bright it was. I also thought it would be fun to let the kids paint the interior shelves in whatever designs they wanted, because you can't really see them anyway. But you can if you're getting toys out, so I thought that would be cute. Just threw some of their toys and thrifted baskets up on the top, started putting the shelves in, and filling the cabinets up with toys. I did have some hesitations about putting the cabinets at this height because they're not extremely accessible to the kids. Although honestly, I think that is an advantage. I think they're actually accessible to the older kids if they have the patience to get out a stool, which is right below the cabinet. They're just not accessible to the baby who loves to dump every single thing out onto the ground. So it's kind of like a toy rotation light system. I did get a couple things at IKEA, which I will show you later, but when we arrived home, we had an exciting package on our doorstep, which was our new rug from Revival. This is not sponsored. I wish it were, but we bought ourselves this adorable checkered jute rug. I really liked the green, being as a subtle pop of color, and I really love the way that it looks in the space. I feel like it warms up the chairs and makes them look a little bit more earthy and warm toned in this space and textured. I also grabbed these little clips. We had this pegboard from IKEA already, but I wanted to grab these little clips just to have a way to hang up cute little cards and pictures in the playroom. I love this. Just dropped my middle daughter off at preschool, and I am on my way to pick up a couple of chairs from Facebook Marketplace. I decided that I'm gonna go with a mismatched chair look, which I keep seeing on Pinterest and I really like. I've been worried that it wouldn't work with my, with the rest of the stuff in my room because the wall behind my dining table is so busy. I didn't want to just add too much chaos to the space, but upon reflection, I think that it's going to work. And these chairs, all of the chairs that I'm picking up are fairly cheap from Facebook Marketplace. So if I need to switch some out in the future to go with a more cohesive vibe, I can do that. But for now, I'm just gonna get them and see what happens. I feel like that's one reason that I'm gonna try to go in this direction is because it just feels low stakes. Like every chair that I'm getting is gonna be like $20 to $30. It feels like I can just resell it if it doesn't work and try to get something different. So we're just experimenting. Good morning. It's Monday. I haven't updated you on things in a couple of days, but I'm just arbitrarily deciding to end our vlog today. We've made several good improvements since I started this video, and so I'm just gonna kind of give you a little tour of where the house is at right now, and we'll call it good until next time. So the first one is in this room, this very room that I'm standing in right now. Very exciting addition to the room. This is our new dining table, which you may recognize is different in style than what I had declared I was going to get. And that is just because sometimes something pops up on Facebook Marketplace and you feel like that's worth a try, and you just bring it home. And this did feel like it was worth a try because it was $150, the table and all 4 chairs. It's a vintage 60s Haywood Wakefield table and chairs. I am guessing this upholstery is not original to the chairs, but I actually really like the upholstery. It's a little bit beat up. It's a little bit like some of the screws need to be tightened, obviously. But for $150, I was like, yeah, we better get that. And I actually really like the way that it fits into the room. I feel like this room feels so much more cohesive now. Something about the colors of this upholstery, I feel like just kind of tie everything together. Adds a little bit more color without being too overwhelming. The tone of the wood is a perfect match for the tone of the floor. So I just feel like I'm really happy with the way that everything looks. And here, lonely in this corner, we have this little chair that I picked up when I was going for the mismatched dining chair vibe. And I still really like this chair. I think it's just hanging out here for now. It could just be an extra dining chair. I might put it in my living room. For now, it's just here, and I still think it fits the vibe, and it's still cute. Then we've got this side of the room, which is basically unchanged since what I last showed you. But I do really like the way that all the furniture kind of ties together. The only thing I have really changed, as you can see, is I changed out the artwork that was above the fireplace, which I obviously don't love the placement of. It's just that I had taken down a much bigger canvas that used to be up there and moved it into the living room, which I will show you now. I've made a couple of little changes in this room since I last showed it, but the main thing is our new custom giant abstract piece made by my children yesterday. I've just been really feeling like there needed to be something above this couch. I really didn't want to do a gallery wall, so I felt like I just needed something really big. We had this big plain white canvas that I had painted over several years ago. I thrifted it and then just painted over it with very textured white paint, and it was fine.
But yesterday I was like, I think I can get my kids to make something really cool, like an abstract piece that would be just really much better than anything that I could do myself because of the just like unself-consciousness that they have that makes their art so good. And I'm pretty satisfied with this. I feel like it turned out great and is like a very good, I mean, I picked the color scheme, so that's why it matches the rest of the room. I gave them the colors that they could work with, but then they just kind of went wild, and I think it looks great.
We also put up this light fixture yesterday. My husband put it up, and I think that is also really improving the vibe of the room.
Yeah, I am liking this room. It has, I'm kind of just confused about it because I look around and like every individual piece I like a lot, but as a whole, I'm just not sure that it's working. I feel like it doesn't have enough tension or something. Like everything is just a little too samey color wise. And then I also just think like the piano in such a small room, having a very distinctly antique piano. I think I said all of this already, but I feel like the piano just pulls everything very much in the direction of like grandma's antique parlor. And even the rug, like the rug I think could go either way. Like it could feel modern, it could feel antique-y, but I just feel like because of the furniture, so much of the furniture is antique, it's like pulling the rug in that direction. So I'm just not really sure what to switch out from here, but we're calling it good for now, and I will wait for further inspiration to strike. Okay, can you see me?
Yep.
You still seeing me?
Yep.
And here's the current state of our basement playroom area. Obviously, the main things that are keeping this room from actually being cute are the gross carpet and dim lighting. I wish that there was something that I could do about both of those right now, but there's not. But I'm happy with our cabinet project. I think they turned out really cute. It's just one of those things that every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I love that. And they feel very functional. I think everything else is shaping up, and that's basically where we're at with this room.